Kia ora, I'm Nathan Wallis. Let's have a kōrero about activating the potential of your baby's whakapapa. Dads might be the secondary carer. There is a primary role in that first year of life in what we call the dyadic relationship, but that doesn't mean Dad's role is not important. Not only in his role in supporting the mum, but in his relationship with the baby. Sometimes Dad can feel a wee bit pushed out because of the exclusiveness of that relationship, but the contributions that Dad makes, he interacts in a whole different way. He brings a different energy and a different wairua, and baby needs both of those things. That's what makes him be able to relate to lots of different people. I think dads, worry that they're not doing the right thing. So it's good for them to have information like, all your baby cares about is interaction. You can be doing Homer Simpson impersonations if you want to. It's not like the baby understands English. As long as you are connected and interacting, because men often are more playful and we'd be silly and we're not so much focused on trying to teach the baby things, we're pulling stupid faces and stuff. It's just knowing that's really, really valuable. The different ways that we hold the baby and interact with the baby are different than what mum does. So, I think all of it's really, really valid, and dads just need to be confident that their contribution is, really important, and the instincts that they have coming to that relationship are good instincts, not to push those away. Because I don't think we did traditionally, We look at traditional Māori stuff around that mana rerekē program, where they looked at the missionaries, wrote down everything that they saw Māori fathers doing pre-colonisation, and fathers are super involved. They're, fathers take over the primary caregiver role for male children, often at one. So I don't think we come from a tradition of not being involved, but we've had the last sort of 100 years that might have pushed us out of that and said we're the providers and our relationship with the baby isn't important, but the relationship with the baby is paramount. The relationship's everything. So I would just say trust your instincts. If you're being playful, and don't question yourself, just go for it. Interact with your baby. Any interaction is good interaction. Here's a fun fact. We can statistically predict how much money the kid's going to be earning when they're 32 years old, based on nothing else other than the number of words spoken to them by their main parents in the first year of life. So the more your parents speak to you in the first year of life, it's not other people, because you have to establish those primary relationships first. So it's primarily the main parent. If that's mum, it's primarily mum. But yeah, the mum and dad typically. So yeah, the number of words in that first year has a profound impact, because we say language is the major driver of cognition, which is an academic way of saying, out of all the things, like half of your braininess, if you like, comes from your genes, but the other half comes from the environment, more specifically the first 1,000 days. And out of all the data you can get in that first 1,000 days, the best data you can get is language from your primary caregivers. That's what it means with language as the major driver of cognition. The more you talk to them, the more complex their brains are, the more money they're earning at 32. Not that it's all about money, but you get what I'm saying? It's about making their brains as complex as possible. It's not just determined by the genes. So whakapapa is important. Genes make up for 50% of your outcomes, but our parents tended to act like it was 100%. If the kid's father was Aparananati, you just feed them and water them and those genes come to fruition. But actually, whakapapa has all this potential, absolutely. But whether that potential is activated or not, it's really dependent on the first 1,000 days. The literature tries to summarise all of that science by saying that the human brain is designed to be moulded by the environment it encounters. So genes and whakapapa make up half of it, but the other half you are moulded by the environment you encounter. In fact, less than 30% of your genes are actually actualised and set and decided when you're a newborn baby. So over 70% of your genome is in some way, shape or form designed to take on a transcript from the environment before it's decided whether that's actualised or not actualised. And dads play a huge role in that, because the interactions that they have, firstly, just supporting the mum if she's the primary parent, that's a huge responsibility that really has benefits for the baby. But the relationship that they have with them helps to access all that potential in the whakapapa. It won't come to fruition, well, it's not very likely to come to fruition when the baby receives a neglectful environment or doesn't receive that stimulation. So when you are interacting with your baby in that, under the age of 2.5, but especially in that first year of life, you're actually realising all the potential, all those tonga tuku iho that are in their whakapapa. So yeah, it's all just about interacting with the baby. You don't have to do anything special, you just have to be in relationship. One of the best things you can do to your baby is sing to your baby, and I say that as quite a bad singer, right? I remember my kids saying to me with the youngest daughter, "Don't sing to this one, Dad, because we want her to know how to sing." But it's not about how well you sing, and that it's about the fact that language comes from singing. Lots of indigenous cultures talk about how the world was sung into creation, and we know probably humans in evolution learned to sing before they learned to talk. Elongated sounds are easier to make than simple sounds. Your baby learns to speak much easier from you. When you say twinkle, twinkle, little star, that's not, it's so much easier for the baby to pick up with twinkle, twinkle. I should have some audio in there as an example instead, but you know what I mean? It's the singing just slows it down, elongates the word, allows the child to hear the sounds, and it's melodic. What's the word? It sings to the baby's brain. We know from a newborn baby, their brains resonate to certain harmonies, so singing is inherently genetically hardwired into the baby's brain. And when you sing, you activate all of that. Like, I think we really miss the potential of music. We look at brain scans, we look at cognition, and so this is what happens when you play a sport, this is what happens when you learn another language, and all that stuff is interesting, but nothing glows up a whole brain scan like singing. When that person starts singing, it's just about can't use the data because there's just so much of the brain going on that it's too complex. We're used to seeing a tiny little network engaged, but singing and just about engages the whole thing. So reading to your baby is good too, but a baby in the first year of life isn't really interested in literacy, So I think reading is a good habit in terms of turn paging and a good shared activity that you establish really early on, and the literacy aspects of it will become beneficial, sort of post early childhood. But it's the language that you use. Sitting and talking to a baby and trying to just talk the whole time, it's easier to have a book and you can read. I would also encourage parallel talk or sports commentary. You want to around the baby in language, you don't know what to say, you can do a certain amount of stupid noises and Homer Simpson impersonations, but if you run out of things to do, just do the sports commentary. Oh look, he's putting his hand up to his mouth, and yeah, he's got the tongue out, and oh yeah, the tongue's got a hold of the finger, and just describe what they're doing, because you're still immersing them in language, and the more words you hear a day, the better all your outcomes are for the rest of your life. It's so profound that I often say to people, don't worry about what high school they go to. That's not going to make any difference. Just send them to the local high school. Well, it makes no difference to their academic outcomes. It does make a difference to your social groups. So if you go to a flash high school, you will know rich people the rest of your life, but it's not going to make you any brainier than you would have been if you'd gone to the local school. How brainy you are is determined in the first 1,000 days, not at high school. So if you can get it right in the first 1,000 days, you're pretty much set for life after that.